everyone, it's Amanda, and today I'm going to wrap up the books that I've read so far in June. I'm going to try to do weekly wrap-ups. I don't know how well it'll go, but I'm going to do my best. So today I have 4 books that I read in June. The first book I have is Island of Lost Girls by Jennifer McMahon. I was a little bit hesitant to read this because I don't like books that talk about child abductions and like what's happening to the child when they're abducted. So I was kind of hesitant and wary to go into this, but it really wasn't about that. It's about a woman named Rhonda who is getting gas one day and she witnesses an abduction. A car pulls up and a person in a bunny suit jumps out, hops to another car, gets a little girl out of the car and takes her. Rhonda is just kind of in shock at seeing this, doesn't really do anything, and later decides she wants to help to find this little girl because she didn't do anything. And there's this parallel story that happened in the past with Rhonda and some friends, and it kind of jumps back and forth. I thought this book was really well done, very interesting. This is the first Jennifer McMahon book I've ever read, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars, so I would recommend this one definitely. I also read We Were Liars by Lockhart. This is a book that I wasn't sure if I was going to read it because it was so hyped, and I just wasn't sure if it was one that I would like. It's definitely a very polarizing book. You either, from what I've seen, people usually either really love it or really hate it. Not a lot of people that just liked it. I personally really loved it. I thought it was very good. It's about a family. Their last name is Sinclair. They are very wealthy, and every summer they all come together on this island that they own and they live on. It's about a teenage girl named Cadence and 3 other people that come on the island, her 2 cousins and her cousin's friend. They call themselves the Liars, and that's all I want to say because there is a lot that goes on and I don't want to spoil anything, but I did enjoy it. There's something that happens that is a little bit surprising, and honestly I figured it out very quickly into the book, but I still enjoyed it. Even though I knew what was coming, I still really enjoyed the story, and it didn't take away from that. So overall, great story, and I gave this 5 stars as well. Then I read Roustabout by Michelle Calhoun, C-H-A-L-F-O-U-N. I'm not sure how you say her name. This book was different than what I expected. It's about a girl named Madeline, but she goes by Maddie or Matt. She lived a lot of her life in the circus. When she was little, I'm not sure how old, her mom ran away to the circus with her. And then a few years later, her mom ran away from the circus but left her behind with her stepfather, who is really not, like, it's the guy her mom was with. And he is a horrible person, and he's very abusive. And the story starts when she's about, I think, 18 years old, and she's not living with her stepfather anymore, but she works as a roustabout, which is, from what I understand, it's like the people who do like the hard labor in the circus. She does stuff with the tent, putting the tent up, maintaining it, taking it down, things like that. And she has this boyfriend, but he's not really her boyfriend. He's kind of like a friend with benefits, and it just talks about her life. And it was just a lot grittier than what I expected going into it. There are a lot of sad things that happen in this book. There's nothing very happy in this book. There are a lot of trigger warnings if you're not a fan of rape, drug use, abuse, things like that. You might not want to read this one. It was definitely, yeah, a lot grittier than I expected, but I did enjoy it. I found it to be very interesting. I didn't love the ending. The ending was pretty abrupt. It just kind of stopped, and I wanted to know what happened next. I did read that this book had been optioned for a movie, and Winona Ryder was supposed to star in it. I don't think that ever happened. This book is from like 1997, so I don't see it ever happening, but I think it would have made a good movie. Overall, a pretty decent book. I gave it, I think, 4 stars. I'm glad I read it, but I wouldn't want to read it again. And the last book that I read this week was Every 15 Minutes by Lisa Scottoline. I was so excited to read this because I did read the first few sentences in my library haul of this book, and it was supposed to be about this sociopath, and it was supposed to be really good. It is about a man named Dr. Eric Parrish. He is a psychiatrist, and he has this patient one day that named Max comes in, and his grandmother is terminally ill, and Max has OCD, and he's kind of obsessed with this teenage girl. And so Dr. Eric Parrish is treating him, and he's very concerned about Max and some of the things he's capable of. So Dr. Parrish proceeds to go and do many, many things that are really stupid, makes really stupid decisions, and does some very unethical things. Then he lands himself in some hot water. And when he's being questioned by police about some things that happen, he holds tight to the HIPAA laws, which, if you're not familiar with HIPAA, if you're not in the healthcare field, you might not be, but HIPAA is the confidentiality thing. Like, if you work in healthcare, you're not allowed to talk about the patients you see, their background, really anything about them. I have to follow the HIPAA regulations in my job. I do occupational therapy. I'm not really supposed to talk about the kids I see, anything like that. So he is getting questioned by the police, and they're asking him these questions, and he's just constantly, I can't tell you that, I can't tell you that, I can't tell you that. And it's, I respect that, but he also did all this stuff earlier that was completely unethical, things he really shouldn't have done. So it didn't make much sense to me. It was just ridiculous, and I couldn't stand that character. And the book, it took about 215 pages for me to even really get into the story, and then it still was dragging, very, very wordy. To be honest, when I got to page 300, I was so done with it, but I still wanted to know, like, who was this culprit. So I just paged forward, and I did find the page where it tells, you know, who did what. And then I paged forward a bit more and found out, like, this little twist, and then I was done. And I was really glad that I was done with this book. I gave this book 2 stars, but it's more like 1.5 stars. I really wouldn't recommend it unless maybe get it from the library, but you might enjoy it. I just personally, it wasn't what I expected it would be, and the character in this book just really drove me crazy. So not for me, not my favorite book. And that's it. Those are the books that I've read so far in June. I will hopefully be back next week with another wrap up, and I hope you all have a great day. Thanks. Bye.